Hey,
What's up?
not much. How's it going? Oh, wait, hold on. There we go.
I'm in my Christmas spirit today.
How do I do that? I'm the worst millennial ever.
Well, I'm not gonna be able to wear this hat because it doesn't fit with my headphones thing on. So it's like
Fair.
weird. I'm like gangster leaning it.
You so hard.
Yeah, I'm hard. Let me tell you. Yeah, I'm hard. My ass.
Here we go. I'll put my Christmas tree in the background.
There we go. See, yeah, we got. I mean, if we're talking Christmas movies, we gotta talk to Chris. We gotta have Christmas shit. There we go. You have a nice. That's a badass tree.
Thanks. We got it from the Home Depots.
Nice. That's where I got.
We're gonna go. Like, you can cut down trees here in the forests.
Oh.
You have to like get a permit for it. It's only $10. But who's got the time?
I mean, I have a chainsaw. So I might have to drive out to Colorado and just like, can I cut down a tree?
It can be as wide as 6 inches across at the stalk. Any smaller or larger than that, you have to leave it.
That's funny.
But I'm also going through at work. We had our holiday event on Saturday of last week.
Okay.
Last Saturday. And because of all the COVID restrictions that were recently put up, we reverted back. And so we just did a drive-through. And so we did pre-made bags of crafts, and then we had free cocoa and mini donuts from some of our local vendors. And Santa was there, and they could drop off their letters. We've got so many letters to Santa.
Oh,
you can't see it. Why did it get rid of that?
I don't know. That's weird. I think it's because of the background thing. Like it's only picking up you, I think. I don't know. I mean, I saw some of it. Like, is it a real letter? It's like
my favorite one so far has been this little girl, because at the top we put like, "Hi, my name is blank," and they filled it in. Yeah. And it said like Kaylee, and in parentheses she put, "But you already knew that."
Oh, look at her little.
She is just precious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's like, "You already know my name, but I'm going to tell it to you anyways." That's cool.
I was like, I know you're asking, but this is just because you put it to everybody.
So it sounds like it was a success.
It was. I mean, we just didn't know, 2 weeks before the event itself, we had to change it. We had already changed it once to make it outside.
Yeah.
And then our restriction levels changed. So we changed it again to a drive-through, and we traditionally gave away 500 cups of cocoa, and we bought 200 bags of mini donuts. It's this truck called Tommy Boy's Mini Donuts here that is in Firestone.
Yeah.
And, oh my goodness. They're so good. They taste like mini funnel cakes.
Okay.
Oh, my word, they're delectable. And they didn't have it, like, they had their traditional like sugar cinnamon one. Like, that was what everyone had across the board.
Yeah.
And they'd been doing one like in fall that was an apple cider donut. And like the water that they put it in was apple cider.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was the best donut that I've ever had. And we're talking about, like, they do a chocolate donut, and she was saying for like they'll ground up hard candies to make it a part of like their sugar sprinkle. It's like, you need to mash up a atomic fireball in your cocoa and do like a Mexican hot chocolate one.
Yes.
So good.
Fucking holidays, man. You get like all these concoctions. You're like, it just sounds amazing, and then you're like, oh, but I should not have eaten all that.
Sugar and add this sugar and fry it.
Just put sugar on it all. You know what I mean? It makes me think of Elf. Where he puts syrup on everything. All the syrup on everything, just on everything. So, oh goodness. Well, so before we get into it, though, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I mean, we didn't go home to Texas. We didn't go to his dad's in Kansas City. We just kind of stayed here and did a little event with some friends. They made kimchi stew, which was not turkey, but it was delectable. And hung around and just chit-chatted for 8 hours and then went home.
There we go. Hey, sometimes the small holidays are the best ones. It's not where it's not crazy or anything else like that. So
how about y'all? Did y'all just do stuff at the house?
We went to my in-laws. We hung out there, took the girls, and just did that. We didn't do anything else with that. Then my parents watched the girls the day after Thanksgiving, and we did nothing. We sat at home and did nothing. I even did an episode of like, what do parents do when they don't have their kids, you know, and I
Oh,
got
I
some
did see
interesting,
that.
I got some interesting responses. The majority of it was sleep. Like we get
Rest
food
up.
in, and then we like just sit on the couch and watch a movie and all this other stuff, you know. So it's typical like when you're older and you have kids, but when you're younger, like let's go rage.
Right.
Then it's like, but you don't have the energy to rage because you're older. So you're
I
like,
have no horse in that race, but
yeah, you're like, I'm done. I'm done.
I know what to do when there are no children present.
There you go. Yeah. See, I remember that. So her parents watched the girls last weekend, Friday and Saturday. So we went to my cousin's bar in Houston because, you know, with everything going on, she's on life support. So we're trying to get out there and tell
I was
people, hey,
gonna
go.
say, like, was it your cousin's bar or is that the name of a bar?
Oh, no,
Like,
sorry. No, my cousin owns a
here.
bar. No, she owns a bar. So yeah, if you're ever back in the city of Houston, it's called
Sure.
Two-Headed Dog. Hopefully
Copy that.
it makes it. Small little place, nothing crazy. And
Right.
so she finally got like, she's considered a quote unquote restaurant because now she sells like cheese platters and
Yeah.
deluxes and
As long
things.
as they've got appetizers, it's food.
Yeah, which, you know, that's a whole other story in itself, but she was able to reopen basically. And so I've been telling everybody, go, like, try to support her and help keep her afloat because hell, she's barely been open little bit over a year. I mean, she opened in August of 19.
That's rough. I mean,
and this has been a 9-year dream of hers. So I'm like, okay, let's you know, so
can't let the dream die now.
Exactly.
And
so we
that's
had a group of friends. We
our,
came out and we hung out and we had some fun. And me and my wife got home at we got home like at 2:30 in the morning. We're like, oh my God.
Ooh,
Like,
in the AM.
I can't even remember last time I did that, you know, and some other funny stuff, but I won't share on here anyways.
Funny
All right.
stuff or funny stuff? You know?
So okay, so I'll just leave it at this because okay.
I'm not prying. I'm just trying to be.
Oh no, it's a funny story. It's one of those stories that you just go, really? That did not happen. And so if my parents or her parents, if anybody's listening to this, just so I'm gonna talk husband-wife relations, just not in detail.
That's what I assumed. Yeah.
Let's just put it this way: we're being husband and wife, right? And we hear this noise, and we're like, "What the hell was that?" Because there's no kids here, and we were like, "Doesn't matter. We're not stopping.
Not worth it."
And we shifted to the foot of the bed, and the bed tilts. And we were like, what the hell? Like, what? So of course, when it's all said and done, I look under the bed. So the adjustable, we have an adjustable base and there's a screw in leg. So the screw is in the leg itself and you screw it into the base. Well, the screw just snapped right in the middle. And that's what it was.
Do that more often so you don't ruin furniture every time.
We were just like, what just happened? Because like all of a sudden we just we're like, what? And so yeah,
future God's going, try this angle.
So in the full Christmas spirit, we broke the bed, literally. So
I don't know the correlation between Christmas spirit and
I don't know how we those are like the two opposite ends of things, but so there's my funny story. We broke the damn bed. Which I can say is a first for me, and which I don't know how she take that.
Oh yeah, you and your wife had sex, but we broke the bed.
That's right. It's like my fat ass broke it, baby. What? Oh man. Well, so I feel like we should get into the Christmas spirit now of Christmas movies.
Now that we've talked about your sex life with your wife.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. That's this podcast can go anywhere. You just never know. I kept it very tame. I didn't go into detail. But of course, when you break a bed, I feel like when you break a bed doing that, you should talk about it. Like you got to share that story.
Right.
So, all right. So we have the Christmas movie tournament that we had. And, so I did a whole, like, let everybody vote, like suggest their movies. And then everybody voted for who would make the tournament. So, and I still got bitched at about it, which is still funny to me. I know. Yeah, you were like, you forgot, man. I'm like, nobody suggested it. I literally just read the list and whatever was on there. I can't
keep up with all your posts. I have to filter out the parenting one. Like, this does not lie.
So you would be happy to know my good friend Dan Hornstein. He actually did an episode with me. He's a stand-up comedian. Yeah. And so he loves Batman Returns as well too. So it's funny because when you shot me the message, he texted me, goes, this is not a tournament if it's not even an option. So I was like, all right, let me go back. And that's when I think I said, I let you know, like, I'm gonna go back and add it. It only got like 4 votes. Like only 4 people voted for it. But
yeah, the 4 coolest people in the
there
thing.
you go. But hey, it wasn't dead last. It wasn't dead last. Okay. There was like over 50, there were over 50 movies. I forgot how many
there was a bunch on there.
And I took out Hallmark because I'm like, I'm not counting those damn movies because there's
I've not seen a single Hallmark.
It's always the same. She was treated wrong. She finds love back home. You know.
I mean, I watch Lifetime movies and I can only have so much female victim action in my life.
Yeah, Lifetime, they hate women and men because all the men are abusive and all the women get abused.
Oh yeah, every time.
Every time, never fails. So what I'll do is, I'll announce. So we're gonna break this down, and I've been asked a bunch, like, okay, so who won? And I'm like, I'm not telling you. You got to listen to the podcast. So I hope you're listening. I'm not telling you. So the only person that's going to know early is Ashley because we're recording this the day before.
I will take bribes now.
That's right. Take your bribes now. So here are the 16 movies that we had that made the final cut.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, here are the 4 movies that just missed the final cut. Home Alone, Lost in New York, just missed the cut. Disney's A Christmas Carol, 4 Christmases, and one that surprised me was Bad Moms Christmas. Those 4 just missed the final 16.
See, and I had not gotten to see that yet, but it is on my Netflix queue.
Oh, okay.
How many votes did The Family Stone get?
It got about 8, I think like 8 or 9
Oh,
votes.
Okay.
So
if you haven't seen The Family Stone, it is such a sweet, tearful Christmas movie, and I was very pleased to see that one had made the list.
Yes, it did make the list because a friend of mine, Lauren, she would like yelled at me like, "You better!" And I'm going to get into this when we talk about one of these movies, but she was like, "It better make the list because that one movie made it. This one, but I'm like, look, it's on the list. If people vote for it, it's there, you know." So
right, and it was one of those too. Like I actually just watched it. It's one that I'll put on because I've seen it so many times. Like I can picture everything in my brain.
Yeah.
But I was like watching it and I was at the end and my boyfriend came in. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing."
I'm not crying. You're crying.
What's wrong? Nothing. I'm a girl.
So here are the final 16. Now, I was debating whether I should do these like number 1 versus number 16 type of thing. I was like, no. Random is always better because you just never know the matchups you're going to get.
Right. And if you've done random up until this point, why change it?
Exactly. Plus, some of these matchups I got yelled at. I was like, what? How am I supposed to choose one?
There was a couple of them that were really good.
They were very good. So there's one matchup that I was a little surprised that it actually was not as close as I thought it was going to be. But so we'll get into it here. So you have How the Grinch Stole Christmas made it twice, the animated version and the live action version.
And I did have thoughts about that. Why are you putting the same movie in there twice? If all 3 of them would have made it, you would have put all 3 in there.
If they got voted in, that's how it would have happened. How it would have happened. But here's the thing. This is why I love the random draw, though, because if I would have done it based on their votes, they would not have faced until probably the final. Because of the random draw, they had the chance to face off literally in the next round.
That's true.
So you had How the Grinch animated took on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That was the first one.
2 classics.
And then it's the live action with Jim Carrey took on Miracle on 34th Street. We had Jingle All the Way take on Christmas Vacation from National Lampoon's.
That was a hard matchup.
I'm a little surprised Jingle All the Way even made the final 16 because, I mean, it's not that it's a bad movie, but I was like, wow, I'm a little surprised it beat out some of these other movies. I am.
Fair.
Frosty the Snowman took on It's a Wonderful Life. And then, so now the next 2 matchups, I even said, like, these are like, you're talking about different ends of the spectrum. A Charlie Brown Christmas took on Die Hard.
I know, poor Chuck.
and then A Christmas Story took on Bad Santa. I was like, what?
I know. And when I saw the Die Hard and Charlie Brown one, I just went, "Aw."
Yeah. And then, of course, the number 1, the top voted movie, which was the juggernaut of this tournament, Elf, took on Polar Express. And then the matchup that I was like, oh, this should be tough, is Home Alone versus the Santa Claus. I was a little, I thought that would have been the tougher matchup.
Honestly, those last 2, didn't they all kind of come around that like Elf and Polar Express came out about the same time? And so did, let me see.
No, Elf, I think Elf was like 2002-ish, which if you they are made on Netflix?
2003, and then Polar Express came out in 2004.
Oh, was it
So
04?
they were
Wow.
close, yeah.
The
And then what were
technology,
the
I
last
figured
two?
it came out. I figured Polar Express came out later because of the technology they used for that movie. Wow.
No.
Okay.
Well, Beowulf had already come out at that point too.
Fair point. But
And
yeah,
who did the Santa Claus face? You just said?
the Santa Claus took on Home Alone.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, those were some very tough matchups right there. And I was gonna
Yeah,
say
and
though,
that one
so
you got
Netflix has this whole thing where they
2004.
do, how they were made and all these stuff like of certain movies. They have holiday movies and they talk about Elf, and it was really good.
Yeah.
I loved it. So if you haven't
See,
seen
I
it,
haven't watched those yet. I was a little bummed that it was only Elf and A Night
the night
Before
before
Christmas.
Christmas. I think it was
Like,
the night
where's
before Christmas.
National Lampoons? I know we've already watched the Die Hard one.
I'm wondering if they're just gonna release them out later, like kind of as they get closer to holidays, maybe more and more.
Well,
I don't know.
And Home Alone and Die Hard are both on the Movies That Made Us.
Yes.
So both of those are already on there. And if you haven't seen the Home Alone one, it
so
is
good.
really interesting.
So good. It is so it's very good. So we'll go. Okay, so we're gonna go down to obviously break down who Ashley will share who our picks were, and then this will always then, as if you're first time listening or watching, this will lead us to the championship, and we will announce the winner. So it's going to be the Grinch animated, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, took on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
And this was the newer one or the older one? I already forgot.
The original. This is the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yes, the original.
Two old juggernauts.
Very
honestly.
old school, exactly. Now I went for Rudolph only because it wasn't a cartoon. It was that stop action animation from which you didn't really see back then. And so as a kid, when you see that, it looked different than a cartoon. It almost looked more realistic than a cartoon did. Because at least that's what I remember watching it as a kid. So my vote was for Rudolph.
I voted for Rudolph too. I've seen that one a lot more, which I know like the Grinch is on all the time, but we had this pre-recorded off the TV VHS tape.
Old school.
That had like California Raisins Christmas.
Yes.
Garfield Christmas. And then the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was on there too. So it was just one that like, when I think of watching holiday movies, I immediately revert back to that one.
Yeah.
So that one, like, I love the Grinch, don't get me wrong, but
I do too.
The Rudolph one of those two is my favorite.
You can't go wrong with either one, I feel like. And what's funny is this was decided by one vote.
Is that right?
And How the Grinch advanced. So How the Grinch. I wouldn't have been upset either way. A lot of these movies, I was like, I don't think I'll be upset either way. I don't think it's like the last one we did where we're like, how in the hell did this movie make it that far? So the next round then is How the Grinch Stole Christmas live action. This is the Jim Carrey version, took on the original Miracle on 34th Street. And so I've seen Miracle on 34th Street. It even the remake one of like the mid 90s. It wasn't my cup of tea. I went with the Jim Carrey live action of How the Grinch, just because Jim Carrey was great as a Grinch.
I also went with How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I think that's one of the best modern Christmas movies that has ever been made. Like,
well, and think about it, they haven't done a live action of the Grinch How the Grinch Stole Christmas since. Everything's been cartoonish or Pixar-ish.
Absolutely. And everything, the costuming, the special effects makeup for Jim Carrey, the set pieces, like everything in that movie, aside from Jim Carrey being at the helm of this character and kind of given free reign to ad lib, and like between Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, like when you give them free reign, you get nothing but gold.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when you just allow them, they know. Maybe it was something they grew up with. Maybe it's something they understand, like just the way they understand comedy and knowing what's going to be funny, reacting off of everything.
Yeah, you
can't go wrong. And so you have that on top of this phenomenal set design all around, and they're in Whoville. It's a place that exists. And I remember, like, weren't there like cups? Like McDonald's had stuff.
Somebody did something. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody had all the things.
And it probably was McDonald's, because McDonald's, they tend, like, back in the day, they were always the people that promoted movies with their cups and their toys and their Happy Meals. Other companies started getting into it a little bit, like Burger King every now and then, Wendy's every now and then, but McDonald's was always like that mecca of like, oh man, let's go to McDonald's so I can get that Happy Meal for the Avengers or the Grinch or, freaking whatever it was.
I remember when boy and girl Happy Meals were only like Hot Wheels or Barbies.
Yep, I do. I see. I'm even older than that. When it was the Hamburglar, and those little burger toys, like there was no boy and girl. You just got one, and whatever was in there, it was like their little characters they had from the '80s as toys, that would transform into food. Like that was this is freaking awesome. And then, I think I threw them somewhere and lost them. I don't know. Right. So Jim Carrey dominated it, won 74%. So it took, it beat Miracle on 34th Street.
Nothing against Miracle on 34th Street. I think it's just, we've evolved from such the classics that we would watch with like our grandparents and stuff like that. Now, like, the live action Grinch is a classic that we watch with our family and stuff like that. We've just, it didn't keep up with the times, unfortunately.
No, it didn't. So now it brings us to the one that I was surprised made it in. Jingle All the Way took on National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Which,
how are you surprised that Jingle All the Way? That movie is hilarious.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. But I was, like I said, like, so I remember seeing Jingle All the Way when it first came out because it was promoted so big of
we saw it in theaters,
comedy now. I want to say, or not diving into comedy because he had already done some comedy with Kindergarten Cop and some other things.
But it wasn't like there was no action. Well, exactly. I mean, there's action in it, but it wasn't like shoot 'em up action. Like
it was like
the Last Action Hero or True Lies or something like that.
It was him falling over toys and running,
getting rammed by a reindeer in Phil Hartman's house.
And then shout out to Sinbad in that movie.
Sinbad just had a stroke too. Let's hope Sinbad's doing okay.
Hopefully so. So it took on. So when I saw this matchup, I thought, well, sorry, Arnold, I don't think you're going to beat Christmas Vacation because I know everybody loves that movie.
Right.
I'm going to admit something that I told my wife, and she looked at me like I was nuts. I was like, I've never seen Christmas Vacation from beginning to end. I've seen it, but it's always been in pieces and parts where I've never watched it from beginning to end. Like I know what happens, I know the funny moments, but I've never actually sat and watched it from beginning to end. And my wife thought I was nuts.
Fair enough.
But now, Christmas Vacation dominated this one as well. 78% went to that movie.
Yeah. I will say the funniest part of Jingle All the Way is him like running down the street going, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Bliss. Like, I randomly do that all the time, and everyone's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Don't mind me. Just
gotta keep it in my brain.
And now we have two old schools. Frosty the Snowman took on It's a Wonderful Life. And and here's the thing, it's not that I don't like It's a Wonderful Life, it's just not the movie that I'm gonna go, man, for Christmas I want to watch this movie. It's kind of a depressing ass,
it's a dark movie.
It's a dark ass movie, but it's a Christmas movie, which nobody argues about because it takes place during Christmas, which gets me to my next argument the next round. But
right. Well, and I mean, too, the only reason that people remember it is that every time a bell rings, the angel gets its wings. Like, okay, do we remember how we got to this angel? No. Yeah. Oh, okay.
See, and for me, it's Frosty. Frosty, because you everybody knows the song. You know the song. Everybody sings the damn song.
Well, and like this is a movie that it's a movie, but it's only like 25 minutes long or like 30 minutes long or something.
Yeah, give or take.
It's also one that is always on. Like ABC, CBS, or something like that, and like the 25 Days to Christmas and all that. A Wonderful Life is on, but it's not. I'm not throwing that on Christmas Eve while we're cooking dinner for the next. Like that's not just one that you put on when the family's around.
Exactly. And I got to look this up real quick because I heard it on the radio and I forgot so it came out in 1969. It is aired every year since 1969.
Wow.
Like other Christmas movies, like even Rudolph, like it didn't come on sometimes. Frosty has come on since 1969. That to me, that's powerhouse.
And the animation in Frosty, like it's not stop motion animation like Rudolph is, but the animation in this, you can tell is a little dated, but you can tell it's hand drawn. All the colors are beautiful. Whenever they've got the like the sunrise, sunset, like the animation is beautiful in this movie.
Yeah, and that got my vote because I remember watching it as a kid. It's
Mhm.
Frosty. For me, it's always going to be Frosty.
Yeah,
If you're going to put it
I
against,
voted for Frosty as well.
yeah. Well, Frosty did win. It was actually a little close. 55% went to Frosty, so that actually was a
Yeah.
little closer.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the next two rounds. Which, oh my God, Charlie Brown Christmas taking on Die Hard. Now here's my spiel, because my friend Lauren, love her to death, but you want to talk about, she bitched me out when she saw Die Hard the movie, because she's adamant Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, and she's like Bruce Willis has even said it, so and so's even said it, and then my argument. So this
Bruce
is she.
Willis said it's gospel.
I don't know. So here's why he is full of shit. Because when I saw Lauren, my friend, last weekend, I said to her, I go, it's a Christmas movie. She goes, no, it's not. And I go, then why did he make a commercial about Die Hard batteries for the holidays? Because that commercial doesn't talk about summertime. It doesn't talk about anything. It's like specifically for the holidays, you need a hard battery. And he recreated this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, not that I needed proof or even more validation, but for me, bam, Christmas movie.
So, okay, when Bruce Willis said it is not a Christmas movie, he said it on the roast of Bruce Willis, and he said, it is not a Christmas movie, it is a Bruce Willis movie. Well, yeah, you're right. It's a Bruce Willis movie. No one's denying that fact.
Yeah, it's very true.
You existed in its photo evidence.
That's his Godfather. Like, that's the movie that's literally the movie that made him.
Well, it makes me ask, like, okay, what are your parameters of a Christmas movie? Like, what makes it a Christmas movie? Because it happens during, like, I don't know, Christmas.
Yeah, it happens during Christmas. I mean,
That's why I said Shazam. Shazam's a Christmas movie.
Exactly.
Batman
Like,
Returns is a Christmas
if it
movie.
takes place during Christmas, it's a Christmas movie.
Doesn't have to be the subject matter. It just has to be happening.
And
Christmas is not necessarily the subject matter of Home Alone. The subject matter of Home Alone is these two dudes are breaking into this kid's house, and it happens to be Christmas.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, though. Most Christmas movies have what? A happy ending. Die Hard has a happy ending. He saved his wife. So, but yeah, Die Hard, Christmas movie, happy ending. Took on a Charlie Brown Christmas. And so here's the thing. I remember watching Charlie Brown Christmas all the time. I remember watching it. It's one of those things like Frosty and Rudolph. It's in my brain as a kid. And I remember it all. But Die Hard is one of my top movies. But I was like thinking to myself, like, is it better though? Is it a better Christmas movie than Charlie Brown? Right. And I said to myself, no, but I voted for it anyways. So
there's a lot of thought process to get back to Die Hard. I voted for Charlie Brown because the soundtrack that Vince, God, I never know how to pronounce his last name, and I'm not going to because I'll butcher it. But that Christmas soundtrack to me is the quintessential Christmas soundtrack. It's like I definitely want that on vinyl so we can play it like Christmas morning with eggnog and cocoa. Like, yeah, that to me spells Christmas.
Okay, fair. And here's the other reason I voted for Die Hard. I kind of feel like it wasn't going to win anyways, because when it was up against Charlie Brown Christmas, I thought, oh shit, there's no way. There's no way.
See, and I immediately thought Charlie Brown Christmas was dead in the water. Like,
yeah, well, it was close. It was close. 56% did go to Charlie Brown Christmas. So Charlie Brown did win. It was.
I am a little surprised.
And then the next one was another one that I thought was two ends of the spectrum. I felt like I knew what was going to win, but it was A Christmas Story taking on Bad Santa.
Yeah.
Bad Santa surprised the hell out of me when I first saw it. I thought to myself, like, this is probably not going to be that good. But I remember watching it. I think I was at a buddy's house, and I remember laughing my ass off going, I did not think it would be that funny. And it was. It was so good. John Ritter, so good in that movie. I love John Ritter.
Every day. Love John Ritter. I've worked with his son on some movies, and he is just as pleasant and lovely as you would hope John Ritter's son would be.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you and I've had that conversation before. Yeah. Yes, I remember you mentioned that. That's awesome too.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because like we were all going out, like, and some of the actors were like, yeah, y'all are going out. Where are you going? What time? And they'll come and meet us. And we were going to this, we got tickets. The movie studio I worked for got some tickets for, it was the Avatar version of Cirque du Soleil. Like they had built it there for tax reasons and stuff like that. And it was like opening night. And he was like, yeah, well, we got tickets to go to the Toruk thing, and then we're gonna go watch the fights afterward. And he's like, oh yeah, where? And I was like, the strip club. He's like, oh, okay. I don't think I'm gonna go. I'm sorry, the buckets of beer are the cheapest there.
Yeah, well, never mind. I'm not going to get into that. Should be a whole topic on my episode. Talk about strip clubs and your experience.
100%. I'm stripper candy. Take me every time. They love me.
Well, and here's the thing, and I'm not saying they don't, because I believe that 100% most women are stripper candy. Like anytime I've gone with another woman in our group, it's like all the women flock to that woman, and you're just like, hi.
We went for Samantha Gibson, Samantha Yarbrough. We went for her bachelorette party to the one in Shreveport before I lived there, and I think that they enjoyed her bachelorette party more than the bachelor party that was there. It was a blast.
Well, let's be fair. Like in that kind of environment, women are going to be more fun than men. Let's just be honest, because men are dogs. I mean, come on, I'm speaking for the species. Like we're assholes, especially in that environment. Because I've been with friends of mine who felt they weren't, but I'm not wrong with you. Like, dude, stop being an asshole. Women don't, or at least not most women, I would say. But
we're there, like, even if we are attracted to the women that are there, like, let's face it, we are, even though we're women, like, we understand what's beautiful.
Exactly.
And we're almost there in an encouraging, like, yes, make that money. Now give me your tits,
Man, oh man, nothing speaks of Christmas spirit like a strip club. And so
I mean, we're talking about Bad Santa.
We are talking about Bad Santa, which Billy Bob Thornton played a great, just drunken, just fool. Like, I mean, he even just looked like a hobo. Like the entire, he has that face.
It's not hard for him.
That's what I'm saying. He has that face that he does it well. He does it well.
That face just makes him look homeless.
So I got to talk about Christmas Story though, too, because it's an all-time classic. Obviously it's on 24/7. And
literally on Christmas Day.
Exactly. And I hear people say, oh, I'm tired of that movie. What's wrong with you? Like, no, it's a great movie. Like you can literally have it on the TV and do whatever you want out the day. And you can sit there and boom, you just can catch it at any point.
And it's one of those, to me, like, it's not Christmas until you've let A Christmas Story play on TBS on your TV once,
Exactly. Yeah. And I always walk in at the scene where he's changing the tire and he just goes, oh, fudge. I don't know how, like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Like, I could probably see a million other scenes, but I always just remember always walking in when that scene happens. If it's on the TV 24/7, I'm just like,
I'm sure it's
fudge. So, yeah. Christmas Story dominated, which I expected it to, 68% to 32%. So
I'm a little surprised that Bad Santa didn't get more love than that, though.
Like if it went against anything else, if it would have, I mean, I just feel like Christmas Story is one of those movies that I feel like unless it was going against Home Alone or Elf or something like that, would not be as
I'm really curious of Bad Santa going against Die Hard.
See, and that's that. I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, I feel like people would be upset, like, oh, like screw both of these movies. I'll pick one. Just to prove Die Hard's not better. What's up?
It's like, that's fine, screw it, but pick the one you want to screw over.
Exactly, yeah. Well, and I have a feeling a lot more people are probably more angry that Die Hard made it in than Bad Santa, because like, at least it says Santa in the title. I could see that argument being made. So, all right, so that brings us to the juggernaut of Elf taking on Polar Express, and never seen Polar Express. I've read the book, obviously. I remember reading the book all the time.
With children, I'm surprised you haven't seen that.
Well, she's not really old enough where she really sits and pays attention to movies. Like she does and she doesn't. So I feel like next year will be the year that we can really start watching Christmas movies, and she'll actually kind of sit and watch them with us. Because usually when we have something on and I sit and watch them with her, at some point she's moving. She's like, all right, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to go do that. Or she's not really paying attention. Yeah. So maybe next year, but yeah. So, but Elf, Jesus Christ, I laugh my ass off at Elf.
And honestly, I've only watched it like in the past 5 years, like sat down and watched, because it came out and I was just like, okay, another Christmas movie, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is hysterical.
Oh, it's great.
You can't deny anything that Will Ferrell does.
My first year at SFA is when it came out, and I remember being at my buddy's house, and we're were partying. Well, they were partying. I was drinking. I'll leave it at that. And we were watching Elf. It was always
sell your friends down the river real quick.
I didn't say names. I didn't say any names.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. Nobody's listening anyways. No, but I remember it was always Elf and Napoleon Dynamite. I don't know why. It was just the most random ass movies that we'd be watching, and we're laughing our asses off, and it was hilarious. And so, but yeah, Will Ferrell, I love seeing the behind the scenes where the studio's like, hell no, we don't want Will Ferrell. Like they did not want him. They wanted Chris Farley, and because I remember when the thing said it was supposed to come out in the earlier 90s or mid 90s, and they wanted Chris Farley. And in my brain, I'm like, man, if Chris Farley was in that movie, that's a completely different movie.
It's a completely different movie. That's Tommy Boy,
exactly. And everything else Chris Farley does. Because Chris Farley is he was always the same character, for the most part. In any movie that
I never saw Black Sheep because I was like, well, I've already seen Tommy Boy, so this
and it seems very similar. Well, so Elf dominated this one, 84%.
Of course
went to Elf. So yeah,
I'm actually surprised Polar Express got that much because I've talked to my adult friends with kids and I was like, I've actually never seen Polar Express. Like, do you enjoy it when you watch it with their kids? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I think there are some movies for kids movies that are better when they were books than as movies.
Well, I mean, that's like any movie that is being adapted from a book. Like sometimes they just miss the mark. And
very true. Okay. Well, because they have to Hollywood it up. They gotta put some Hollywood into it or whatever. Is how I say it anyway. So.
What does that mean, Ryan? Put the Hollywood.
Well, it's like because here's the thing. So I don't read books. Okay, I'm not a book reader, right? So like the Hunger Games or the dude with his sex dungeon, whatever, the gray thing, or what's his name?
Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. Thank you. I couldn't see. That's what I'm saying. I don't read books, but I always hear. That's how I describe shit. That's how I describe things.
Dungeon. Okay.
Sex dungeon, something, whatever. The room of pain, whatever it was called. There's
a color involved. I don't know.
But I always hear like anybody, that reads the books, like even the Lord of the Rings, they always bitch about how the movie or Harry Potter was nowhere near what the books were. And I'm like, well, duh, because the books can get into more detail. They can elongate because it's a book and a movie. They got a time frame.
Right.
They're like, well, this isn't maybe bright enough or dark enough or sexy enough or, it's always something they got to, elaborate on. And so.
And that too, like, I don't know if you've ever watched The Boys on Amazon.
Oh my God. Yes. I love The Boys. I caught up because Jensen Ackles is joining this season from Supernatural and I got so excited. Yeah. So sorry, but not to cut you off, but what your point?
I mean I love that comic book and the show and the comic book are incredibly different.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me enjoy the series any less.
Yeah. Well, I think comics are different though. Like even with The Walking Dead, like you have to defer from the comic because if you don't, people are already going to know what's going to happen that are watching that maybe read the comics. So it doesn't really. Yeah,
that's the same thing with a book too, though.
Well, very true.
Game of Thrones, like.
Very true.
I remember watching the episode with the Red Wedding, and there was a girl there who was like looking at us and like, we were just curious of what your reaction would be because we read the book. Wow.
Which is another reason why I don't read the books, because then it's like, because even with Walking Dead, I don't want to know. I don't. I really don't want to be spoiled. I don't like to be spoiled. I don't like. I'll read a spoiler of like. Not that they tell you what's going to happen, but it's like, hey, here's an idea of like, this is going to be involved somehow. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So shit's going to hit the fan. Of course, with the boys, and it's like, well, shit hits the fan all the time. Or, spoiler alert, their brains hit the fan.
Right.
Spoiler, which I can't wait for season 3. God, I'm so excited. All right. So Elf moved on. So now our last first round matchup is Home Alone takes on the Santa Claus, which I thought was going to be a closer matchup than it was. But my vote went for Home Alone because I remember watching that movie and just loving Home Alone as a kid, thinking, "Oh yeah, that'd be so fun." So that got my vote was Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone got mine too. I like the Santa Claus, but I immediately think of Home Alone more. I mean, it's the same thing with like Jingle All the Way and Christmas Vacation. Like, I pick Christmas Vacation because that is the movie I remember. Like that's the one. Yeah.
When you think of Christmas, when you think of Christmas, you're gonna think of the movies that you remember, like just in. Home Alone is one of those Christmas Vacation.
I don't know, Margot.
See, and then we it was on, I think it was on Freeform a while back, and I was trying to get Claire to sit down and watch it, because it was like a little kid having fun. She was like, "No, I'm done. I'm walking away." So that's why I'm like, okay, next year. But yeah, the voting wasn't as close. I thought it'd be a little bit closer, and it wasn't. Home Alone actually won 71%. So
wow, that's surprising.
so Home
But
Alone won.
I think there's something to say about like the Santa Claus is a great movie.
Oh,
And if they would have
absolutely.
never made another one, it may have had a better reputation.
I think so too.
Then
Yeah.
you just keep going. And that's with a bunch of series of movies. Like when you just like, oh, this is great. Let's just keep riding this dead horse until we fucked it so far in the ground. It can't stand up. Like
Yeah,
you're
and
ruining.
unfortunately,
There's something to say about you ruining your legacy.
I agree. And I feel like they could have gotten away even with just the second one, but then they did, I think, a third, right? I think they did a third one.
Right. They did with Martin Short. And I love Martin Short, but bruh.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Is
and
it disappointing?
Can we just say that I'm very shocked in this bracket that we didn't see the Gremlins or Love Actually. I feel like I don't like Love Actually personally, but every bitch that I know is talking about that movie right now.
So
and I mean that
well, both made so here's the thing. They were on the list. They were on the options to vote. Nobody. So Gremlins was close.
Was it?
Yeah. So Gremlins, I mean, it didn't like barely like miss out, but it got a good chunk of voting. Love Actually did not actually. Yeah, it was like middle. Yeah, it was like middle, right? And then I think Love Actually was like a little bit below Gremlins type of thing. So
good.
Yeah, so I was surprised too. What
was the lowest one? What was the one that got?
Oh, one of them got 0 votes, and it was it was like a holiday Best Man or something like that. I think it was like a sequel to The Best Man. Yeah, something like that. It was one of the suggestions, then it got 0 votes, and I was like, okay, I saw it, and I'm like,
what? You didn't suggest something and then not vote for it yourself.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I was like, how the hell did that happen? So, but hey, whatever. I think people are just like, oh yeah, don't forget about this movie. It's like, but I'm not going to vote for it. Okay, so then why did you suggest it?
I'm so helpful.
Well, it didn't steal votes because nobody voted for it. So, all right. So now this brings us to the matchup that I was excited for. I was hoping this would happen. Both Grinches taking on each other, animated versus live action. This one was tough for me. It was. It was. It was because I love the live action because I'm a big fan of Jim Carrey and what he does, but the cartoon I was excited for as well too. And so I'm not gonna lie, I literally flipped a coin and it landed on animated for me, so I voted animated.
See, and I did live action just because I think it's such a well-rounded movie. Like we all know the story and we all know they could have easily fucked it up.
Yeah.
And what can you say about Anthony? Can Anthony Hopkins narrate my whole life? Like, I just want Anthony Hopkins to always be my internal monologue.
Yeah.
He's
one of those few voices that can do it.
I think that the live action Grinch is my top 5 personal like Christmas movies. Like give me 5 to watch only and forever for the rest of Christmas, done. That's in there.
Well, look, so it live action, or sorry, not live action, animated won that round. So animated won that one. I didn't write down the percentages, but it looks like it. Let's see here. Let me show you if I did my math correctly.
And as an adult, my favorite scene in the live action one is when he's like throwing the letters out. It's like jury duty, jury duty, jury duty. Like, oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Yes. And see, this was another close one. Actually, yeah, looking at this. So animated won by 1 vote, 19-18.
Your fucking coin.
Yeah, like literally 19-18. And here's the thing. I found like my Facebook voting was like one way. The Instagram voting was the complete opposite way. Like it made it so even. It was insane.
Right.
It was insane. But so animated won for that, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which now brings us to Christmas Vacation took on Frosty the Snowman. I already said what I said about Christmas Vacation because I haven't really seen it. So my vote went to Frosty.
I definitely pick Christmas Vacation. It's just, especially now, like rewatching it as an adult, it's just even funnier.
Which my wife loves just yelling out, the shitter's full. She just loves yelling out that line.
That was my Christmas card last year. It was like this little cartoon version of Randy Quaid. It's like, Merry Christmas, shitter's full. Why is the carpet wet, Todd? You and your wife, the next time, if you can get the kids out of the house during Christmas again, you need to like make some boozy eggnog and cuddle up and watch Christmas Vacation.
I know that's actually my plan. So, honey, if you're listening, yes, we're gonna watch the movie eventually.
Hold him to it.
I know. All right, so now this brings us. So now the next two rounds, these are tough matchups for me. You have Charlie Brown Christmas taking on A Christmas Story. To me, that was tough.
That is two hard ones.
It was very, very hard. But I went with Christmas Story just because of the whole like just watching it. It doesn't matter what scene I'm seeing, I'm probably gonna go, oh, that's funny, or I'm gonna enjoy watching it.
Sure.
And it was Christmas Story for me.
I definitely picked Charlie Brown. I just think it is. I would rather watch that one. They're both great, but if it's like, okay, which one do you want to watch? Like, I would rather put on Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay. So this one actually voting, so 22 to 15 are the votes, and it was A Christmas Story. So not as close as I expected it, but Christmas Story did win.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the one that I was like, ooh, what's going to happen here? The juggernaut of Elf that everybody, it had the most votes, but Home Alone was in the top 5. So Home Alone took on Elf.
That's a hard one.
God, I could not decide. I got a lot of messages about this. We're like, how the hell are we supposed to decide between this? I'm like, I don't know, like whatever works for you, because I don't know.
Free will. That's how you pick.
Yeah, just like, oh my God. So I eventually I went with Christmas movies. I feel like I go to childhood nostalgia because I just remember I remember seeing this in the theater and just loving this movie. So Home Alone was it for me.
I pick Home Alone too, just because Elf is probably the better Christmas movie, but Home Alone reminds me of Christmas more.
Yeah. Just the mind is getting left at home while your parents are flying.
Right. Not that so much, but like watching it with my parents that remember I exist.
Yeah. Which can we talk about though with Home Alone, how the meme of the house going, I want to know what Kevin's dad did to afford this house. No, I've heard of it, but I laugh every year I hear it. I laugh.
Yeah.
Every year there's
it's like a conspiracy that he worked for the mob and shit like that.
It's like a drug dealer. That's very Christmassy.
How else for you to pay for 12 people to go
and afford this house? Yes. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. But always a good one.
It's like every movie you look at, especially Christmas movies, like nobody's going to the trailer park.
Mm-mm.
You know, like everybody lives in a Victorian 3-story home.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck lives in these homes?
Not us, or not me anyways. I was like, I don't live in that freaking house. I live in a small ass house. I think my house was the size of their living room. Like, right. Well, so surprise. So here's my surprise. So Home Alone won, and it's not that they won, but it dominated. It dominated 25 votes to 13.
Wow.
Like, I was shocked by that. I was like, how in the hell? I thought it'd be closer. I thought it'd be a lot closer, but clearly,
right.
Like, screw you. Home Alone's better. I'm like, okay.
That's surprising.
So our final 4 is The Grinch Stole Christmas animated. It takes on Christmas Vacation, and then A Christmas Story took on Home Alone. We'll start with The Grinch and Vacation. This was another one that it did not even come close. Not even close. But
really?
My vote went to The Grinch, obviously, because I've already said what I said about Christmas Vacation. So my vote went to The Grinch. And I feel like I know where your vote went.
Yeah, mine went to Christmas Vacation.
Which a lot of people did, because it got, now this one I remember to write down the percentages, 67% to Christmas Vacation. So not surprised.
See, and I thought that Christmas Vacation, like this was the one where I was like, well, it was a good run.
Well, and you know what's funny? I was looking at this side of the bracket, their side of the bracket, like it didn't look as tough as it did on the other side for Home Alone and Christmas Story. Because I mean, you got both Grinches. I mean, you got Rudolph. Okay, 34th Street, like we said, that kind of got outdated. Frosty, It's a Wonderful Life. I'm thinking, man, like those are going to be some tough matchups. Like I feel like those are not as tough matchups as you would have against A Christmas Story, Charlie Brown Christmas, Elf. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like you said earlier, Die Hard with Bad Santa. I wonder how Christmas Vacation would do against like Elf. You know what I mean? Like I wonder how that voting would have gone. So. But we'll never know.
It also makes me think
not till next
like,
year.
If you were to do this exact bracket again next year with different original matchups, who knows where it would have went?
Exactly. Who knows? But Christmas Vacation's in the final. So now who's it going to go against? Christmas Story or Home Alone? And again, I was surprised. Not about who won, but by how dominant it won against a particular movie. So my vote went to Home Alone again because of my nostalgia. As much as I love Christmas Story, I love Christmas Story, but I had to vote for Home Alone.
I did the same. Yeah.
And everyone else did 76%. Like I was surprised. Like it dominated. I know. I was surprised. I'm like, how in the hell? Like my brain when I'm looking at this,
those won so much in their previous round. It's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing I've noticed with people voting. And here's the thing that I did too. I put these on my podcast pages where it's not just my friends. Like literally anybody could see this. Anybody following me on these pages can vote. So it's not just my friends now, which I was a little surprised by. But like you said, it's like you got a movie that dominates in like, but then the next round it gets demolished. I was like, wow.
Right.
Like, okay. But I'll say this, like my honest thought was that I thought Home Alone had a chance, but my thought was that Elf was going to be the winner of this bracket. I honestly thought Elf was going to win it all.
I did. I kind of assumed Elf would win it all. And I thought something like Die Hard or Jingle All the Way would be like a dark horse and make it to like the final four at least.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. When it made the final 16, I thought the same thing. But when I saw the bracket matchup of a Charlie Brown, and then even if it won, he was going up against a Christmas Story. I'm like, God, dude, there's no way. There's no way it can make it that far. There's no way. As much as I love Die Hard, there's no way it's going to make it to a final in that side of a bracket. But so now we have Home Alone and Christmas Vacation. And yeah, I got a lot of messages about this one. Like, how in the hell am I supposed to vote between these two? That's the point.
Matchup, though.
It is a great match. Like, it's a great final. Like, it's a great final. And guess what? And again, I haven't revealed any of the winning votes. Like, nobody knows who won, because if you're following along, you see who wins as we get to the championship. But I haven't revealed anything.
Right. But even once you vote and it's like, all right, so many percent, like the next four people can easily sway that.
And a lot of these, that's what happened. Like with Rudolph and the Grinch animated that first round, Grinch was actually winning Rudolph was winning quite decisively, and then it flipped toward the end. Like a few more votes went its way.
Rudolph was winning when I voted, I think.
What's that now?
Like the Rudolph was winning when I voted. And so when I saw the next one, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. I'll say this. So I'm not going to announce the winner yet, because we're going to discuss who we voted for. 2 votes decided the winner. 2.
No,
votes.
How many votes altogether?
We looked at, let's see, 50.
Wow.
50 votes.
Dang.
50 votes. So I'm like, that's a lot of votes. Like total 50 votes.
Yeah.
But yes, it was decided by 2 votes. And again, because I feel like this is going to be I feel like this was tougher for you, because I've kept saying what I've said about Christmas Vacation, excuse me.
Right.
So my vote obviously went to Home Alone, but I feel like this was a lot tougher for you.
I mean, it was and it wasn't, because I voted for Christmas Vacation. And just because like that movie, I think maybe now because I'm an adult, like I still love everything about Home Alone and all the production that it took to go into it, and knowing like the behind the scenes stuff. But I still just crack up at Christmas Vacation. Mostly because I have some weird redneck family like that. No shade, but just get your umbrella.
So for me with Home Alone, it's still that kid nostalgia, like I mentioned, but something I haven't mentioned yet is now that I'm an adult and a parent, like now when I've seen the movie, I'm like, oh my God, how would I react? Oh my God, how would I feel? Like I look at it from a different lens and I still enjoy it.
How much would I relate to Catherine O'Hara?
Well, like, and the dad I love how the dad, so at the end, I remember watching at the end, the dad just nonchalantly comes home like, hey guys, we're home. How's it going? Oh man, I missed you, buddy. He's not like, holy shit, you're okay. Like he just, hey man, we were gone for the weekend. Yeah. Like his dad just not, so which I think, but infuses the mobster theory.
You're all right with losing people.
Yeah, he's a mobster apparently, because he was like, I knew you were fine. I had eyes on the house the entire time.
Don't worry.
I called the guy. Oh my God. Yeah, so I think that's the thing too. I see a lot of movies that I saw when I was younger, and through an adult eyes, I'm like, okay, I can see why adults were like, this movie's not good.
And there's a lot of movies that I don't want to rewatch because I know I'm going to ruin them for myself.
I'm the same way. I am the exact same way. So the winner. So for those of y'all like, okay, would you just announce the fucking winner already? I'm tired of waiting. The winner by 2 votes was Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone.
Oh, right on.
2 votes. So,
at all not shocked to buy that.
But and I feel like if you're like, oh, this sucks, like I feel like you can't be mad because it's not like I feel like it's not like
I'm not shocked that Home Alone won. I'm kind of shocked that it was up against Christmas Vacation. Like I kind of figured that one would have went like third round tops.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little surprised to see it make it as far as it did, but it did, and you know, it's just one of those things where. Yeah, Home Alone. I mean, but I feel like if Die Hard would have won this, people would be like, "This is bullshit." Like, how? Yeah, or Bad Santa. That is Christmas movie. It's not real Christmas. It's like I feel like that would have been the argument.
Show you who has children that votes and who doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. And I wish I would have kept track of more of like the people who voted, so I can send them messages going, "Okay, I know why you voted for this. I know why you voted for that." way too many people to message all the time because I already got enough messages. As it was, which I had a few of my friends even message me going, if Home Alone doesn't win, I riot. And I'm like, hey, where? You coming to my house? Like, you better think twice about that. Oh, goodness. So, yeah. So if you're listening, for those of you that messaged me saying Home Alone better win, there you go. Home Alone won. Which,
for those of you that took the time out of your day to let me know.
Yeah, I know. Which I appreciate. Hey, that means you're invested, which gives me good ideas to like do this later on. And which I'm going to switch up the tournament now. So I'll let you know this. I don't know when I'm doing it yet, but I'm going to switch it up because now I feel like the voting with people is fun. But
it's blast.
But the thing that I want to see happen is, so I was talking to some people when we were out last weekend, and you and I have talked about this, doing an 80s movie bracket, right? And TV shows and things like that. So I'm like, So here's the thing. I like 80s movies, but I'm like, what can make this more interesting or entertaining or fun? Okay. I'm not going to let people vote. I'm going to bring on 3 people that want to talk 80s movies. And I'm going to be the moderator, and I'm going to tell you the bracket, and then the 3 of you vote, and whoever wins the vote, that movie moves on.
Didn't we just do this through November? I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, it would not be. There's no voting. It's literally an episode where we break, like, it would be like, let's say if it was you, me, and a friend of ours, right? And then there's a moderator saying, all right, Breakfast Club takes on Back to the Future. My vote's this, my vote's that, and then whoever wins out of the, because there's no tie. There's 3 of you voting. So I'm going to switch it up.
That sounds like fun, but only if I'm involved.
Well, okay. So here we go. We got you on the show. So like I said, I plan on doing 80s movies. And I think for TV shows, because there's so many, I'm gonna have to do like a bracket of 64. Like I can't do just 16. Like there's way too many.
80s TV shows or TV shows?
No, just TV shows in general. Like I got to think of criteria. But my thought was, it would be broken up into 2 parts. Like we discussed the first round, and then we do the second.
We do round 1 and then work our way.
Well, it would be round 1 would be one episode of this of the podcast, and then all the rounds leading to the champion would be the next episode. I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. You have
maybe. I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet, but with TV shows, I feel like you can't just choose 16. Like there's so many freaking shows out there. So
well, unless you do it by like decade when like the pilot aired or something, like shows that aired in 2000. Because there's so many too, like there's all the mainstream ones, but like if you don't add Buffy into that, such a cult classic. Like if you don't add certain shows into it, you're gonna get a bunch of angry messages.
I know, which means they're involved though. So it's that Howard Stern effect. Piss people off so they listen and like yell at you.
No news is bad news.
Exactly.
And no press is bad press. That's
exactly right. No, I feel like Buffy would make that tournament, but I feel like 64 is a good number for TV shows, not movies, because that's
right.
I feel like
that's even harder, so you have to break that one down.
Yeah. So again, I'm working on that. That's going to come in the new year. That's going to come next year, which is like 3 weeks away. Not tomorrow. That shit ain't happening. Actually, next week's episode, if these guys' schedules is so, if you're listening and watching, my buddies Kenny and Michael are next week's episode, and we're going to talk camping trips when we were younger.
Yeah,
go camping and float the river. And let's just say we have some great stories to share of some things that are funny, some things that we are like, wow, we were stupid, and some things that, well, me specifically, I will share. I'm not going to share it now, obviously, but next week you will hear a story involving me, a tree, a bottle of Jack with a handle, and a hatchet.
So that's called a handle.
Oh, well, yeah, there we go. It was so long ago. I drinking straight from the handle, of Jack. So let's those 4 things are involved. And I'll leave it at that. And so that's a fun story that I'm going to share next week. So hopefully these guys are able to jump on with their scheduling. I think we got it narrowed down. So we're going to talk some fun camping trips. And then and you're going to laugh at you, Ashley. So for those of y'all that have seen my photos, or if you're watching, you see my hair is very long. And it has never been this long ever. And I said to myself, all right, I'm not going to cut it for 1 full year. I shaved my head on January 1st, right? I shaved it short. And when everything started happening, I thought, well, I'm not going into work, or now I quit my job. I'm just going to let it grow, see what happens. See if I can make it 1 full year. Well, I'm like 3 weeks out. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do anything with it.
So you haven't cut it all year?
I haven't done anything. Haven't trimmed it. Haven't done anything. Haven't done anything. I mean, it's well, you can't see it because of my little background thing.
You got a Joe Exotic mullet going?
No, it's not a mullet. Hell no, it's not a mullet. It might look like it because of my my headphones that I have on.
Oh, maybe so.
But no. So what I'm going to do is, apparently I love doing brackets and tournaments and letting my friends decide. I'm going to do something fun, which my wife goes, "Are you serious?" I'm going to let you guys vote what I do next with my hair. You get to decide. Now, it might either be tournament style, or it might just be straight up all voting. I don't know yet. I'm working on that part. But it's either keep it as is, shave it bald, shave only the sides, and just leave it up top, mohawk, dye it a different color, dye it blonde. I don't know. I'm thinking of different things. I'm just going to
do a friar tuck.
Maybe so.
Shave everything and then a bald spot.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Because I mean, I stay at home all day. I don't have like an actual job, so I can get away with this. But it's fun. I feel like it's fun, and I feel like we
perm and Jerry curl to that list.
I might have to now. Son of a bitch, shouldn't have told you anything. Because now they're like, why wasn't Jerry curl on there, bro? Like, well, I don't know if my hair can do that. I have no.
Hashtag soul glow.
Oh Jesus. But I'm coming up on the 1 year anniversary. Season 2 is coming. Right, season 2 of this podcast. Yes, I'm calling it season 2 because let's see here. I wrote this stuff down, and it is going to be, I think it's January the 6th. So it's every Wednesday, right? So January 6th starts season 2. It's going to be new hair, new me.
Yay!
Just new hair, new me. So over the next coming weeks, be on the lookout because y'all are going to get a chance to vote for this. And then that episode is basically me documenting and talking about it on the audio podcast. And then here on YouTube, you're going to see it yourself. You're going to get to see it, whatever happens. So I feel like you would get I feel like you would get a laugh out of that by sharing that.
Love it. Can we make season 2 you not shaving your beard for a year?
Oh. Okay, man, I don't know if I could do that one. Because I didn't shave it. I didn't shave it for like 3 months, and because my facial hair does not grow very quickly at all. Like it took me like 6 months to even get anywhere near this.
Right.
So I feel like if I didn't go like here, like it would not go very long.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
You know what? That is one way to find out. Now, here's the thing. I gotta get my wife.
You can put product in it too. It'll keep it tame, and it might make it grow better.
Okay, fair. Well, see, now this is where we need to get my wife involved in that one because she's the one that has to kiss me, and so she might.
Again,
I don't see
maintain it, and it doesn't smell like your saliva 5 days later.
I don't see her just moving hair out of the way, like, okay, give me a kiss.
I mean, you don't have to go full ZZ Top with the mustache. You can trim that.
Oh, I already do. Like, we're
talking the Alaskan whaler, okay?
Okay, maybe. Okay, we'll do the hair first because this grows a lot quicker than this does.
How long is it? Have you looked?
I mean, here, I'll take off my background so you can kind of see this because you can't really see it with what I have.
You do look like a beetle right now.
Thank you. So here, actually, let me take these off real quick. So this is, I mean,
it's pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, it's there like this.
You could be a character from Days of Confused.
I mean, it comes down to almost my bottom of my cheeks, my cheekbones, or my jawline.
That's not inches, but good for the.
It's insane. Like I can't. It's never been this long, and I'm just like I don't know what to do with it half the time.
That's so funny. Now you can just put a beanie on and you're good to go.
Exactly. That's what I do. I put a beanie on, I put hats on, I just do all that stuff, and then of course, my hair, my parents are like, when are you cutting your hair? I'm like, I don't know yet. So, and then when I tell them what I'm doing, they're going to go, so what if somebody tells you got to have orange hair? Well, then I'm going to have orange hair. I didn't,
You still have to claim me.
Exactly. Like, Mom, don't worry. It's happening after Christmas. So you don't have to worry about photos. It's not going to be orange. Now her birthday comes up January 25th. So, hey, happy birthday, Mom. Take a photo with me with my blue hair or my orange hair or my rainbow hair.
Or your cornrows.
Oh my! I don't think my hair is long enough for cornrows. I don't know if I can get away with that.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe.
Do we vote for Ryan to get extensions?
I feel like this was the worst mistake telling you this.
100%. What were you thinking?
This is how you know you're a good friend. We're like, cornrows, extensions, right? Like, we're talking hair. Oh shit! You forget what I used to do.
What's the budget? Unlimited? Okay.
I got connections, Ryan. I can have them send this stuff to you and just we're good.
Gonna sew in a wig for a year. Love it.
Oh my god.
Well, and how long are you keeping this? Like, once you dye it, is it just until it's time for it to go? Do you have it for a week and then you're bald again?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel
like if I do something, I'm not gonna do it for like a day and then get rid of it. Like, I'll maybe keep it for at least like a week, depending on what it is. Maybe, I don't know. Or hell, or here's the thing, knowing me, I'll just say fuck it. You know me, I don't care. It is what it is. I'm just gonna I'm pushing 40 and my hair can still grow out, so I'm not worried about that right now.
Got a great hairline for almost 40 too.
Thank you. See,
thanks. I knew way further back.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Tuck,
Yeah, just shave the top and then leave all this like here on this side.
Well, man, mullet is on the list, right? Like,
no, I'm not putting mullet. No, I'm not gonna do mullet. I'm not gonna do.
You put a mohawk, but you won't put a mullet.
Yeah, because I can.
I will tell you, mullets are kind of hot right now. Mullets are making a comeback. I don't know why, but a lot of hot dudes have mullets.
I can tell you why. It's because that stupid ass show about the tiger guy. Like, that's probably why.
This was before Joe Exotic. Don't say the tiger guy like you don't know his full government name.
I can never remember. I didn't watch the show. My wife. Joe Dirt. When I hear mullet, I think Joe Dirt.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Maybe I do that. Maybe I do that look. Little Joe. I'm bringing Halloween early in January.
One of the best Halloween costumes we had at one of our events for kids was a little kid dressed up like Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
Little baby Joe Dirt was the
Oh my goodness. I love it. Well, I can say, as always, Ashley, I love having you on every single time. It's been almost a month. It's been a few weeks or whatever. And so I'm like, and you're like, yes, I'm down. I was like, yeah. And so I was trying to bring somebody else on to talk with us. That didn't work out. So we'll do that another time. But
next time for the debates.
That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So maybe, you never know. So, but yeah, I'll reach out because like I feel like so the 80s movies and the TV show stuff I might do a little differently, and if I do, I'll keep you in mind. But that's the only problem with that is scheduling, because everybody's schedules are different. So I gotta figure that out.
Just let me know.
Or we just do it on a Saturday night while we're all drinking and hanging out on a Zoom.
I mean, you might get more views that way.
That's very true. I probably will get a lot more views. Like, hey, you want to see some drunk women or people talk about some movies? Here you go.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, guys, so once again, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for watching if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and go to like this and subscribe, leave comments if you can. Same thing on the podcast. If you're listening, like, subscribe, make sure you download it. It is what it is. But because we have our reoccurring guest, Ashley Clark, the lovely Ashley Clark, and her lovely Christmas tree background, which I love. And if you can tell in my video, my wife put up Christmas lights in our room just to keep the ambiance there. So, but
so you can break the other half of the bed.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We got to have lighting so we can see what the hell we're doing, because clearly we didn't know what we were doing. We couldn't see shit. It was 2:33 in the morning, and we were just like, "Hey, how's it going?" Okay.
Completely sober, I'm sure.
Oh my goodness! But everybody, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Like I said, next week's episode should be a really fucking one. But Ashley, once again, as always, thank you so much. Miss you to death, girl, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.